we have 20 minutes left. Trace in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, wants to give us a few moments on his ornamental lathe to show how he does a, what do you call it, Trace?
Tri-finial.
We gave it a new name.
Tri-finial.
A
Go ahead,
tri-finial.
take it away, Trey.
Cool.
Let me show you a couple of them I did. Well, first thing, let me switch off my face and put something else on that looks better.
Oh yeah, please.
Oh, look.
There's the lathe. The lathe looks much better.
Success.
Okay. That's a tri-finial. It's a finial with 3 parts. And it's turned on the rose edge. And by the way, the African blackwood cuts better than the maple did.
Is the Blackwood what you were doing earlier this afternoon, Jay?
Yes, it is. And I'm going to show you the same piece I had on earlier this afternoon. That's the reason why I want to go ahead and show it.
Cool.
I'm going to have to move my camera. I'll move down the piece some.
While he's setting it up, this is on a Lindau White ornamental lathe, but there are plans out in the world to make one out of MDF. Mine is out of metal. I made it before that MDF came out. His weighs about 1,000 pounds. It's as rock solid as can be. Mine weighs 300 pounds and dances all over the counter. So, but I could always have my hopes to get me a better one. All right, show us how this gizmo works, man. It's called the lathe.
Okay. First I'll just show you the whole overall lathe. Okay, that's the rose engine lathe. Now,
we're looking at the color again.
oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
Thank you, Apple TV.
Wow.
What I'm doing is I'm rubbing on this rosette that's on the end of it. That's called a rosette, and it's a pattern bar is what it is. And it has 3 lobes on it, which is going to give me the 3 things on it. And I have a rubber that's rubbing against the outside of it, which is nothing more than a follower. And I also have set the stop over here to prevent it from going all the way down to the very bottom. It's about 25 thousandths that does not go all the way to the bottom. But let's go ahead and make a cut and show you what it does. Okay, and I'll go ahead and
we're looking at the rosettes.
well, this.
There we are. Now we're at the cutter head.
Cutter part. I backed it off some, but when I stop it, I usually back it out of the cut. So
Now the headstock is moving. The cutter is adjustable.
this headstock is going back and forth. You notice this is moving in and out. The cutter's in one spot. The headstock is moving back and forth.
The degree of cut's adjusted by moving the cutter that's on the top of the photograph.
When I'm only going to adjust.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to adjust this in. I'm going to move it in 20 thousandths.
Now, Trey, does it always go that speed? It seems very slow. Is that how it?
It goes at whatever speed. Well, look how fast the hand crank's moving.
Yeah, okay, I see that.
I can do it by hand or power it. The control that I have over here, this control box allows me to change the rotational speed
Okay.
to whatever I want. And I can do the same thing with another control box for the cutter. So I can change the cutter speed.
Hey, Trace, so basically you got an XY axis attached to your cutter and your headstock rotates based off the rosette. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's rocking. The headstock is rocking. If you can see, it's pivoting about this point here. This rocks back and forth.
Yep.
pivoting about that point.
The arbor. Yep.
Yeah.
This complete shaft rocks back and forth. Now I'm capable of also making it go this way instead of just this way. But in this case, all I'm doing is rocking it back and forth. I'm doing it.
And it's quite the setup.
Now, in front of you, all those rosettes you're looking at the center of the image, those are different patterns that he can follow with different rubbers, like that. Those two on an angle right there. Either one, he could set it up and read one or more of those templates.
Now I can rub on one here and rub on one here too at the same time. And it's something that you actually do because I'm only hitting 3 points on this one. I could go to a 24 bump on this one and catch it in the time when it's shallow. So I pick it up and then they'll go back and forth to each other. But capable of changing the angle of this to the cutter, angle of this to the cutter, etc. But right now it's just a straightforward, simple moving in on it. And it takes a long time because I'm going in 20 thousandths per every time I adjust it. So that means I have to adjust it, what, 50 times per inch? So it takes a while making the cut. And if I try to go too fast on it, the cutter binds up on it.
Folks think I used to joke about this is when I would watch a good movie on TV.
Well,
Yeah.
I just had dish out here. They had to redo it. My cable wasn't working properly. The other thing I've done, I don't know whether you noticed it, but this has a bigger opening than that side. And what I've done is I've set this guide here. I've adjusted it 1 degree out. So I have a 2 degree inclusive angle change from the top to the bottom when I go down it. This is set square, but I've adjusted and rotated this top piece by 2 degrees. So I have a taper from one end to the next.
I think you have to be an engineer to understand all this.
We are engineers over turners.
Yeah,
I
don't let
agree,
it.
and I am no engineer.
Yes, you are, Brenda.
This is complicated.
Not, Brenda, I'm not going to shortcut this, but a lot of this is try and fail and try and achieve. And what Trace is doing here, this is one portion of what an ornamental lathe can do for you. And don't be scared of it. They do some awesome work. They're a simple device, and they've been around for a couple of thousand years.
That's saying too much, but they've been around at least for 400 years.
Yeah, the motorized ones, the water-propelled ones
No,
were.
they were hand cranked back then.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s, they were hand cranked. So
So that
But
entire finial is made on this machine?
yeah, well, I did the initial turning right here. I'm gonna put my hand in the cutter on my regular lathe.
Okay.
I rounded it off. I put a tenon on it. I put this on there, put it on there, rounded off, put a tenon on there, and then moved it to the other. Moved it.
Wow.
I have a number one. This is a number one. My lathe is a number one too. This is also a number 2 Morris taper. So if I want more accuracy, I can actually pull it out and put the taper into my regular lathe and move it back and forth that way.
Huh.
How did you hollow down the center?
It's cutting it down the center.
Machine cuts it.
The
But you
machine
have
is
it-
going, notice the machine is going in. It's going in towards the cutter when it gets to the center part,
And then it backs off.
and then it backs off again.
From the rocking motion.
It's from that rocking motion.
So when you look at the base of the finial, you can see how it's arcing in and arcing out. If you can, Trey, can you do the camera view back on the cutter?
Sure.
There you go.
Now, maybe you can.
So
as
now
it
you
goes
see how it's
around-
cutting.
Now he's on at 1 degree in, so what you see at the tip on far left side is open and whole. And as he moved down the piece, because the piece is straight, he's tapered to cut.
That opening's getting smaller and smaller. And then,
So will the inside of the triangular spaces right now, will those also be rounded off because they're sharp right now?
no, I'll take a little piece of sandpaper.
Okay, yeah, understood.
Yeah, I just take a little piece of sandpaper and rub down the
Okay.
inside just a little bit, just
Okay,
to knock the real sharp point off.
okay, that's
And
understood.
I'll have to
Okay.
ran sandpaper down this to take any variation off when going down it.
Okay,
So if you don't have an ornamental lathe, could you do this by using a jig with a router, with
absolutely.
like a code tool or something?
But if you can do it on a standard lathe with the way you're talking about, but you have to hand power the drive.
Roger, Roger, yeah, I can see that with the hand power your router to go on a parallel axis of this spindle.
Well, that can be in your jig. I'm talking about the headstock.
Well-
You can't put that on a motorized power unless you got something extremely slow like this.
Some Rose engine lathes, instead of moving the headstock, they move the cutter. But what you have to do is you have to synchronize the motion of the cutter on a cam to the rotation of the lathe. And it's going to have to be a slow motion rotation, so it's going to be hand cranked.
Okay, yeah. I was just thinking of using the index that's on the lathe for 3 different positions and then routing a groove and then using sandpaper to clean up the center.
You could do that, but you're not going to get this in the tip.
Right.
It would be a little different, but it's,
Okay.
there's more than one way to skin a cat.
The cat doesn't like that.
The quickest way to do it, if you didn't have it, would be, use a handsaw and then shape everything with your sandpaper.
Oh boy.
Compared to setting up a router jig and everything, you just aim to do it without something like that.
See, Brenda, you're in the game.
Nope,
Nope.
it's above
Not-
me.
Brenda says not it.
Nope.
On that last symposium that they had, Wood Turning Worldwide Symposium, there was a gentleman on there doing plates for the mount on the wall hangings, and he had set up a rosette on his lathe and was moving the cutter, moving a cutter back and forth to it to make the basic cuts.
I've got a video on that I did that early on when I wanted to build an ornamental. And it worked. You were reading the rosette on the other end of the operation.
Hey, Eddie, is it on our website now?
No, not mine. It's not yet. I don't know if David's he's got a lot of mine up there. I have to see if that one's even still available, but I can put it back.
Well, the easiest way would be to make an MDF Rose engine. That would still do the same cut, so.
Yeah, a link for that was put in the chat already.
Yeah, and basically it's using MDF for the basic support and the arms and that kind of stuff. And then your shaft is going to be metal, of course, and then the rosettes are coming, you put a rosette on it.
Now the shaft and rosettes are available retail from some suppliers that are very, very specialized. You're not gonna find it in the big books.
So an MDF would be the easiest way to do it. It'd be a lot cheaper too.
Very nice, Trey. This has been so interesting.
But it's, as I say, it's a different, and that's getting pretty close to how far I want to go down. So I'll take that and throw that back on throw that back on my lathe so I can turn the bottom of it and put a little tenon on the bottom. It's about time to do that. So I still have enough room down there to do that with. But anyhow, I showed the tri-finial a couple of weeks ago, so I thought I'd go ahead and, you know, it would
Oh,
take, it takes hours to cut because it's, you know, you see how slowly you go down it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better get your dish fish fixed. All
Well,
right.
he's fixed it.
All right. Now,
He's got
thank
it
you, Tracy.
Well, the other thing I can do is I can go to my Wednesday meetings and do it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get 3 done during that.
No, I get half of one done.